Welcome to a special edition of Fringe Element here on the 440 Sports Network. My name is Braden Gall, and you can follow me on Twitter at Braden Gall.
Mine's Erin Dugan. You can follow me on Twitter at the Erin Dugan or Instagram, Erin_Dugan.
Special guest on the pod today, Corey Forrester, comedian, well-read comedy tour at Corey R. Forrester, CoreyRyanForrester.com. The Well-Read Podcast. Did I miss anything, Corey?
How you did? You, no, you didn't. I love how at the beginning you were like, Corey Forrester, he's a you were like, comedian. Am I reading that right? Is that what this is? Like you stuttered on the one thing I would consider my actual job.
There's been a misprint.
It's because I didn't. I wrote everything else down so that I made sure I got it
he's
right.
Not calling himself a comedian.
Wait, if he
days.
doesn't
Jesus
do
Christ.
comedy, what does he do?
Yeah, he just kind of exists out in the world, takes his shirt off. What is this guy?
Folks, if you want to learn how to be a good broadcaster, always insult your guest right away. It's the best thing you can possibly do is to insult.
I'm teasing.
No, I wrote. See, what's ironic is I wrote everything down to make sure I got it all correct. And the one thing I didn't write down was comedian. So of course I fucked it up.
Yeah, why would that come to your mind when thinking?
Why would I need to?
There's a lot of people that agree with you right now. They're like, yeah, we don't think of him as that either, for sure.
He's an influencer.
Why would any human need to write that down? Like, why would any human need to write down comedian?
Yeah,
like,
no, I get it.
All right, okay. So now that everyone knows who you are and who's our guest and where they can find you, make sure everybody goes to Jasper's, of course, Erin, because Fringe Element Podcast is brought to you by.
I'll have to do that on this episode? Okay, hold on.
Of course you do.
Fringe Element is brought to you by Jasper's, the aspiring way to keep you and your loved ones safe. It is the top-notch home security system, and you can get it for just $19.99 a month.
Corey, this is a sports bar in Nashville.
Okay.
So
I can't believe I've not been there and been thrown out.
yes, there you go. Go to Jasper's. Free parking, great food, great drink specials, especially for the national championship game, of course, coming up on Monday, which is why we've got you here, Corey, because you're a huge Georgia fan.
Go Dogs, baby.
Tormented as all Georgia fans tend to be. So we're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about what you're doing on Monday night. We'll have some fun as usual when you're on the show. But let's go back to New Year's Eve and how did you consume the game? What were you consuming along with the game? How did you feel going into the game? Get into your mind here on New Year's Eve.
So here's where I'm at on New Year's Eve. Now, I'm a huge Georgia Bulldogs fan. I'm not saying that I necessarily like Harbaugh as a person, but I am intrigued by him. I remember seeing one time that one of his gimmicks that he does is he likes to eat steak with a big glass of milk. That really humanized him for me. I really like that because I too feel like I waffle between being a grown man and a toddler, and nothing really kind of skirts that line quite like a full-grown steak with a baby glass of milk. You know what I mean? So I like that. I enjoy this guy. He looks like Schembechler. He's old school. I kind of dig him. But now he's playing my Georgia Bulldogs. Now here's the deal. Obviously, going into that game, we're playing a number 2 team. We have not had success this year playing a number 2 team, but this is not an SEC school. This is not Nick Saban. I was very confident on New Year's. And here's why I was very confident, because as a Georgia fan, you've said we've been tormented. We have also found our zen. And part of finding our zen is just understanding that if it's not in your control, you can't do anything about it. And the one thing that's not been in a Georgia fans' control is Nick Saban. We've known since the beginning of the year, we went to the mountain. We read the prophecy. It didn't say we get beat by Michigan. It says we get beat by Alabama twice. And the only way we can get beat by Alabama twice is if we beat Michigan. So I saw the clouds part. We're gonna take Harbaugh, bend him over a rock, because our destiny is getting thumped by Nick Saban one more time, baby. So no, I wasn't worried then. I'm worried now.
Do you think that your sentiment, Corey, mimics the rest of the state of Georgia? Do you think everybody's found their zen where they are? Or
No.
How's everybody else dealing with this? Because I think you might be at a little bit of a higher, more, meditative level than the rest of the state.
Yeah, no, everybody. See, I don't know though. Georgia fans, we get a lot of grief from a lot of people by being loud and obnoxious, which we certainly are. But one thing we are more than that is self-aware. We're aware that we're loud and obnoxious. We're also aware of exactly. No one hates Georgia fans, and Star Wars fans are very alike in that if you hear a Georgia fan talk about Georgia and you hear a Star Wars fan talk about Star Wars, you go, wait, it doesn't sound like you actually like these things that you're talking about. You seem to be trashing them way more than you're praising them. I thought you were a fan. I am. We suck. That's Georgia. So, I think everyone pretty much expects what's gonna happen though is that we're gonna look really good in the game. We're going to look really good in the first half. And then we're going to get a little bit of hope. Everybody's going to forget. It's like when a woman, this is what I've heard. I can't speak for all women, but what I've heard is when a woman gives birth, there's some chemical that goes off in her brain that makes her forget exactly how horrible childbirth was. And if that didn't happen, there's no way she would ever give birth to a second baby. It makes that pain go away. Mm-hmm. I think that Georgia has that. When Georgia starts playing good in the first half, we forget everything that Nick Saban has done to us through the years. And then in the fourth quarter, boom, we're dilated, baby. And here it comes.
My God.
So there was any of what I just said on this podcast?
Yes, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah. There's no, I think I've already cussed a few times. Here, was there any celebration at all? Did you have any moment on Friday evening, like going into New Year's, clinking glasses, saying, you know what? Second national championship game in 4 years, like you just go right immediately to God damn it, Nick Saban. Like that's
it wasn't even that. Like I'll be honest with you, like it wasn't really that good of a game. We beat Michigan handily, and that's what I like. I don't, as a fan, when I'm watching Georgia, when I'm watching the Tennessee Titans, everybody's like, well, I just hope it's a good game. I'm like, I want to turn this off at halftime is what I want. I never want a game that my team's involved in to be a good game. I either want us to beat the crap out of them, or if it's going to go the other way, them to beat the crap out of us. I don't want to have to be sitting there watching my team for 3.5 hours because I'm an anxiety riddled person, So New Year's, I was very happy. I was like, look, we're beating them. I can kind of half pay attention. I mean, I had it on the whole time, but I had my computer. I was writing a little story, doing my thing. But no, see, I don't really party anymore. It's not really my thing. So, I was excited. Hey, we got the game out of the way, and now I can turn on and catch up on Yellowstone until the ball drops and then go to bed.
Yeah, I was in bed at 10:35 Central Time.
That's what's up.
It's bad. It was bad. Erin was partying, but
yeah. Well, listen, Erin, I called her Erin. I don't know why I did that, but
it's my nickname.
It's a Freudian slip. Erin's a party girl. We all get it. She's a big influencer
really
on Instagram.
Not.
She's got to go out. She's got to take a picture with the glasses, with the two and the whatever. And I get it.
Seriously,
I get
Corey, you just turn on me like that. Braden wants to put me in this category.
You know why this is about? Because you called me an influencer at the beginning of the podcast. That's what this is about.
Well, you're wearing red lipstick. What am I supposed to think?
It's Kool-Aid.
Oh, it's Kool-Aid. That's way better. So you're an 8-year-old influencer.
I say, I wish that's the demographic you want. They spend money. The 8-year-olds, they have,
they do.
They've got all the disposable income.
That's the target market.
I have a 5-year-old daughter. She does, in fact, spend all of my money. There's no question about that.
I should say this. I use the word Kool-Aid like many people use Kleenex when they mean tissue. You know what I'm saying? It's not actually Kool-Aid. It's it's whatever the no calorie squeeze gimmick is that you put in the water, Mio or one of them. I just call it Kool-Aid.
So it's the purple.
Yeah. So I mean, it's still kind of childish, but not like I'm not Bert Kreischer in it drinking like a gallon of sugar.
Well, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw your Kool-Aid dyed lips, but hopefully you're not. I know that you're a little more fitness oriented than that. So surely you're not just chugging 47 grams of sugar.
I feel like Bert works out more than I do. To hear him tell it, he just eats way more than I do.
And then he drinks like 14 beers and then runs 4 miles. It's like you did not break even.
No, and my relationship with alcohol has changed, so that's good.
Well, I want to have you on again so we can discuss all the plot holes in Yellowstone. But we can do that.
Please, season 4 is full of them.
We can do another episode of that. So out through the course of the week, then building up, knowing full well that your destiny is to be beheaded, sacrificed at the altar of Saban. What are conversations like? Because you said not everybody is like that in Georgia. Like Georgia fans are not everybody's like that. I'm sure there's one out there that has hope. So what are conversations like with your family, your friends, other Dogs fans, where you're just like the complete cynic and the realist who's like, no, this is what's going to happen. What is that like?
Well, I shouldn't say that I'm a complete cynic because I'm not. When they're saying those things, I'm not looking at them going, y'all are idiots. We're going to lose. I just tend to not. I know, I pay attention to all our best players and my fandom is what it is, but it's gotten a little, I've tried to separate myself a little bit from it, like most of my fans, because at a certain point I realized it's like, I had 2 realizations last year. One is I would go on stage and if I had a kind of a bad set, depending on, let's say there was a drunk person in the front that ruined it for everybody, yada, yada, it would ruin my week. And then at one point I go, dude, you got to stop letting 300 drunk people determine whether or not you have a good night. You can't do that. And the same thing happened with me when I go, dude, you cannot let 18-year-old boys decide what your temperament for the weekend is going to be. Because I have got buddies who, like, we're talking, one of my buddies, grown man, when we lost to Alabama a couple years ago, he kicked a keg and broke his foot. And like, and he still finds no fault in that. He's like, well, I was mad. Why wouldn't I be mad? We lost the game. So I've gotten a little bit better. Now, here's what I want. This maybe sounds sacrilege to everybody that's a college football fan. I want us to win. That way I never have to care again. You know what I'm saying? Because I can live off one. If seeing a national championship when I'm 34 years old, I can live off that the rest of my life. And how do I know? Because I know people who saw us win it in 1980 who are still living off that, baby. So like, I can do it. So if we win this one time, I don't have to care anymore. I go, we got it. I saw it. It's over.
You pop the YouTube in, take a big drag off of it. You're good for another 12 months.
That's it, dude.
Tennessee fans have lasted a while.
Tennessee fans have lasted five years off that freaking catch. You know what I'm saying? And that was just one game. They've lasted that's what I'm saying.
3 decades off the last national championship.
I do think Georgia fans, though, and I find this fascinating because I do think there's less crazy with Georgia. Because you said kicked the keg, broke his foot. Well, that's not a shotgun fight. Like that's what Alabama fans do when they're when they're angry after they lose. It's like people die. So I do think that part of what makes Georgia, you could argue, the best job in the SEC, the best job in America, maybe, is that there seems to be like Georgia gets to a certain level of crazy, but then they stop themselves from getting to Alabama and Tennessee.
But you could also use that as an allegory to exactly how they play the game. Georgia for my whole life has gotten to a certain point, but they can never seem to get where Alabama is. Do you understand what I'm saying? So yes,
comes with the cost.
The fans act exactly like the team does. It was the same thing. Now, Kirby Smart's a little bit different, but Rick always going to go to the SEC championship. You know what I'm saying? Always going to win 11 games a year, or 10 games a year, I guess, but could never, Georgia always stays just good enough to where no one can leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one would blame a Tennessee fan if after Fulmer left, if they stuck it out till now, no one would blame a Tennessee fan for going, you know what, man, I can't take it. I just can't take this shit. Everybody be like, you know what? Go ahead. Go be an Ole Miss fan. Do whatever you got to do. But Georgia, you can't arguably leave because we're always good. We're just not good enough.
So really what you should have said to the guy who broke his foot is, why didn't you kill somebody?
Yeah. Why didn't you hit me in the head with a keg and kill me? Yeah. So I could be through with this.
Win.
Yeah,
I do feel like game day Georgia is pretty crazy, like present in the game. But I think that it doesn't seep into every aspect of life and just dominate Twitter with craziness like Alabama does. It's pretty crazy on site.
Well, Alabama is the media, like it's like the incel white boy on Reddit of football. Like they're just so used to getting their way and everything that they throw a tantrum whenever one thing bad happens. You know what I'm saying? Like Alabama fans are so spoiled, but at the same time, I still like, if you're out there and you've been an Alabama fan your whole life, and I've got buddies who have, because I live here where I can be in Alabama in 30 minutes and Tennessee in 10 minutes. I'm right there in that tri-state area. So I do know people who've been Alabama fans, died in the wool since they were born. And I have a lot of respect for them because they went through a period of time when Alabama wasn't even allowed to go to bowl games. You know what I mean? Like Alabama couldn't achieve anything. And now here they are. But there are a lot of people who jumped over, as soon as Saban got there. And those people are the worst human beings that have ever lived. You know what I mean? Like those people are just that, like they're the go see the manager people when someone like forgets to put a taco in their bag or something. Now it's the word, like this person should be fired. Like they're the them of college football. And I hate them. The Karen. Yes. I'm sorry. I couldn't think of the word. But yeah, they've had everything. And Georgia fans are just kind of like the ones in the back of the line. Like, yeah, man, sometimes you order something. Sometimes they give you something else. Eat the shit. I don't know what to tell you. Life sucks. Like, did it still cost $4? Who cares? Nobody, it don't matter.
You sound very self-aware. You
try.
You speak as a fan, being sort of elevated above the fray. All these things. Do you think that changes at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Monday evening? Do you think all that shit goes out the window?
It's going to be a little different for me because I'll be watching it at 5 p.m. because I'll be in LA. And that'll be right before I it's going to be a weird day for me because we've got some stuff to film that day and I'm trying to fit a national championship into that. And like, I'm more of a professional comedian than I am a Georgia fan. Do you know what I mean? Like, if there's something we got to do and I'm gonna have to miss the first half, I'm not going to go, sorry guys, this is my team and they're in the national championship. I'm going to go, well, that doesn't really matter to the crew. I've got to do my thing. So
it also makes you no money.
Yeah, for sure. Well, no,
Right.
And now I will say this, everybody on the crew knows that I'm a Georgia fan and absolutely has brought up like, hey, we can make it work. And I'm like, and they will, because they're cool and everything will be fine. But I'm just like, I don't want anybody to ruin their day to make mine better. You know what I'm saying? If it happens to work out for all of us, that's great. But I'll be with Trey. It'll be 5 o'clock. I haven't really drank in a long time, but I guarantee I know Trey. I know how Trey, For those of you that don't know Trey Crowder, he's going to be sitting there. He's like, man, dude, come on. Dude. Man, watching football ain't the same way. I'm going to have a beer. Does it bother you if I have a beer? I'm like, no, it's not going to bother me if you have a beer. Okay, well, I'm going to get 2 just in case. But what, so I'll probably end up having a couple of beers during the game for sure. And if we win, I will go insane. But if we lose, I'll be mad for 10 minutes. And here's what my buddy Rocky Dale Davis, who's a comedian, y'all might know him. Rocky will call me. Rocky will start cutting promo after promo after promo. He's been texting me all week. This is what he does. He texts me all week and he's like, hey man, I just want to go ahead and give you an early congratulations. I know this is y'all's time. The Dogs are going to pull it off. He does that all week just so I can't say anything to him. And then when they win, he calls, man, y'all suck, blah, 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 blah. So I'll deal with that for 10 minutes and then I'll be fine.
Corey, if anyone has followed you on social media or knows anything about you, they know that you're trying to teach valuable lessons to people predominantly across the South that may or may not help humanity. Who's to say? But if you had the attention at if the halftime show was Corey Forrester,
oh man,
Georgia, Alabama, and you get on a stage and teach something to the crowd, because this is your target market, or attempted.
Oh my God.
What would you teach? What would you do?
Oh my Lord. Damn, you've really put me on the spot. So the gimmick is I've got the whole, what is it?
You have 15, the whole Bible belt essentially.
Just scream the words democracy and vaccinations just over and over again.
I guess it would be that. Yeah, it would be, hey guys, I sound like you and I got vaccinated and nothing bad happened afterwards. I'd probably just open with that. And then
really get their attention.
Yeah. And then I would probably start at, I'd have to fit a lot of my stuff in because I also have other values that are close to my heart, such as I'd be going, listen, guys, I totally understand that people want to get back to the time when movies were 90 minutes long. I totally understand that. I get it. You've got to pee, you've got your kids, you're at the theater, and you've been sitting there a long time. I get that. However, there is no way that you can make Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness a 90-minute movie. It's just going to have to be 3 hours, and you guys are going to have to accept that. There's way too much to unpack here, and I know that all y'all don't want to sit here and do part 1 and then wait for part 2. Nobody liked it when it was Harry Potter. They should have just made the movie 4.5 goddamn hours long. So that's what we're going to have to do. Sometimes you're going to have to accept that a big budget thing like this can't be put into a series on Disney Plus because it's box office, and if we're going to unpack all that stuff, it has to be 3 hours long. I'm sorry. And if you don't like it, wait till they put it on fucking streaming and watch it at your house where you can pee every 5 minutes. You old lady. I would say that. And then I would probably say Black Lives Matter, get vaccinated.
Yeah, these are I'm glad you prioritize the issues.
So you got to racism last.
Got them all prioritized.
I knew it. I knew that y'all brought me here to set me up to cancel me.
I'm just kidding.
I know.
Well,
you would have already canceled yourself by now if that was going to happen.
If it was even possible to do.
Yeah.
What's funny though is because you talk about straight, like I don't go to movies, but we watch just unlimited amounts of television, of course.
Yeah, right.
But like I don't like going to games as much anymore either. And
yeah.
I'm basically like the guy that Dr. Rick is talking to in the commercials. Where they're like, we all see the blue hair and blue. Like I'm the guy. My wife is like, oh, there you are again on TV. Cause I'm like, where they park outside the stadium and they're walking in and he goes, so think we're gonna leave about the third quarter.
Yeah.
Goes,
Oh yeah.
Why don't we stop going? Point is, I love being at home to watch games. I want to be at home to watch the movie. I want to control the environment. Like, do you actually love going to sporting events, or do you actually like it better in a small padded room with like a TV?
I like it better at home, honestly. I really do. Like, and I figured that out because I went to a couple games and I was privileged enough to be able to sit in a box. And I was like, oh, this is a way you can do both. This is the best of both worlds. You're at the game, but you're in a house. This is awesome. But what I used to do was like, I would go to Athens for the weekend, for honestly every weekend. No, even if they were playing away, I would still just go to Athens because there were still tailgates happening. I always like to tailgate outside the stadium, but then when everybody else went in, I'd just stay because number one, when we was younger, you just go steal. Everybody leave their cooler. You know what I mean? So you just go get beer. There's a hot dog laying out. You don't know how long it's been laying out, but eat the hot dog. But I only went in like, I mean, I've been into more games, but I think the last 3 games that I actually decided, okay, I'm going to go in for this. This is how lucky of a person I am. Those 3 games were the Florida-Georgia game when Mark Richt sent all the players on the field to celebrate the touchdown. The first blackout Georgia game when we wore the black jerseys, I was in there for that. And the LSU Georgia 42-45 Mettenberger Stafford shootout. I was there for that. So like the times I do decide I'm going to waltz in here. It's always great. I honestly should go to the game Monday. Something awesome will happen.
It's although it's not quite the same as Los Angeles being in like 38 degrees in Indianapolis. What's weird is I'm curious what the crowd will be like because we talked about this on the episode this week with Godfrey that Alabama fans are sort of just reached the point where they're like, yeah, we'll catch it next year.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we'll get it. We went to one 5 years ago. We missed this one.
Yeah.
We're going to go to this one. Do you expect Georgia fans to dominate the crowd because of that situation?
Georgia has always traveled well. So I don't know. Maybe, and I don't know why we travel well. Maybe if you looked at it like there's just more money in the alumni at Georgia, and so they can afford to travel. I have no idea. But yeah, I definitely probably if I'm an Alabama fan, I'm thinking that I'm going, yeah, I've been to one, or I'll go to the next one, or I've been to 5. God, it's just something else, man. Like it's great though. I love it. It's college football. I like watching NFL better, but I like living college better, if that makes sense.
Definitely does.
Who are the most obnoxious entertainers, comedian or musician, actor, whoever, just people that you kind of know in the sphere of influence you've got? Who are the most obnoxious Alabama fans?
Well, Rocky Dale Davis for sure. My boy Conrad Thompson, a lot of people know from his podcast Empire, the Ad Free Shows Network, which this is actually, I still got my background up. This is the show I host on there. Plug. He's an Alabama fan, and he's obnoxious by he does this gimmick where he pretends to not be obnoxious and be above all that stuff, but he's doing it on purpose as a bit. So it comes. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like he'll I was gonna I know you've probably been getting a lot of Alabama fans text you, but I would never do that because see I'm used to it. When we win 10 championships in a row, that sort of thing becomes beneath you. And I'm like, you get how this is worse, right?
Yeah.
You get how you're being more smug right now. So other than that, I don't know a lot of Alabama fans in the comedy world. Comedians have always tended to, like most comedians I know, like especially from the New York area, like Mets fans, Jets fans, comedians always tend to root for teams that don't historically do well and everybody else hates, because I think comedians identify with that. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, everybody shits on them. That's my team. I'm gonna be them. So Alabama doesn't really fit that mold.
Yep. Well, Corey, it seems like this kind of off topic, but seems like even if Georgia doesn't go well, your wife's been enjoying watching TV. She doesn't really have to deal with wins or losses when she's watching Pete Davidson.
Yeah, no, that's true. My wife's actually a Florida fan too.
Ooh, I don't think I knew that.
How does she handle Monday evening then?
And
then we'll get back to Pete Davidson.
I won't be here.
And then how does she handle Pete?
Yeah, I won't be here, so I don't know what she'll do, but I'll be honest with you. My wife actually, I think, is probably a bigger college football fan than I am. Like she definitely, like if I have something else that I have, like I will miss a Georgia game if I told somebody I was going to do their podcast and I was like, oh no, I didn't realize there was a Georgia game then. I'm not going to tell them, sorry, I'm not doing I'll do the podcast. My wife, however, like if Florida's on, she's like, no, I don't care. She would cancel her giving birth to watch Florida play.
Who is she rooting for in the SEC championship game?
She'll be pulling for Georgia because she loves me.
Okay.
And she hates Alabama. Like as a Florida fan, she hates Alabama more than she hates Georgia. Well, I don't know. I hate Florida more than I hate Alabama, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I tell my wife that, but she's sweet. She's like, that's fine. I can't put myself there. I don't hate y'all as much. And I'm like,
you're beneath us. Does she love Florida more or Pete Davidson more?
Pete Davidson right now because Pete's never hurt her. You know what I mean? Like
Wow.
Florida's hurt her a lot this year. Florida sucks. And Pete Davidson, she loves him so much. Like my wife has been like a Pete Davidson stan since like he was old enough for her to enjoy him physically. I'll say that legally. Yeah. And so she's actually kind of like, she's mad. It's kind of like how I was talking about earlier. Like
that it's trendy now.
That it's trendy now with your old school Alabama fans and your new Alabama. She's like, so now all y'all like Pete Davidson because it's clear to everyone that he's insane. Okay. All right. I've been liking Pete Davidson since before any of that. And she has she's always loved him
too.
And I love that my wife loves Pete Davidson. Here's why. Pete is not a conventionally attractive person. He is, and because when I go, yes, see, exactly. You don't have to look like Brad Pitt and everybody's like, I don't understand. What is it about Pete Davidson? I was like, well, first off, you're acting like he's a leper. He's not ugly. He's also really tall, really charming, really funny, and really rich. My freaking God. Why wouldn't anyone want to be with this guy?
You left off the most important one, but we'll leave that for another conversation.
Big winner.
Listen,
I think that's implied.
King of Staten Island was
great.
Fantastic movie. And I do want to ask you about sort of like comedy, and because like you went through a whole lot during the pandemic, and like every entertainer, musician or otherwise went through a lot of all this stuff. And I'm starting to see a lot of the content that's like really deep inside people's heads coming out now, like whether it's a record, whether it's a comedy bit, whether it's a movie, you're starting to see a lot of that stuff. So I don't know if you're obviously a different person today than when you went into the pandemic. So I don't know
Huge.
not to end this conversation in a super serious note, but
no, that's great. I don't care.
Way to go, Braden.
I'm just curious what you've seen from your industry coming out of this, and now that people are sort of back doing stuff again.
I think you hit on it. It's a lot more like people are more into authenticity now. And like people, I think it's like the entertainment business has always said that that's what they want, but really it's not. Oh, we just want someone to be authentic. And then they get that authentic person and they strip away everything that made them authentic. And they go, no, we meant this one thing about you. And then we're going to turn that up. But I do think that, because of the pandemic and every single piece of entertainment that people were putting out was just them shooting themselves in their home. There was no other thing to do. And because of it, people started being a lot more open about things like, oh, this is who this person really is. And then at a certain point, everybody's like, oh, wait, the product you're selling is yourself. Oh, wow, that's interesting. Oh, I can just be me. And I think because of that, and because of how popular podcasts have become in the past several years, which I think y'all know this as podcasters, with television shows, the thing was you got to reach the broadest audience, but with podcasts, it's actually, you got to reach the niche audience. The more niche your podcast, actually, the more successful it can be, because you hit this thing and people go, oh my God, I'm into exactly that. And I didn't know that there was a thing that was exactly that. That is specifically for me. And I think entertainers are starting to realize, like, be exactly yourself, and alienating things can actually be a good thing, because then you get a more diehard fan. You might not have as many fans, but you might only have 10,000 fans. Whereas if you did the popular thing, you'd have 250,000 fans, but those 250,000 fans are passive fans. The 10,000 you have are diehard, will buy and watch anything you do because you are them. So I think authenticity has really been at the forefront in the past 3 years. And I love seeing that trend, because there's going to be a lot more failures as far as TV shows go, but we're also going to see more experimental, really great things like your WandaVisions, and people are starting to take swings, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That was a real long-winded.
No, that was a good note to end on too.
Basically Vanderbilt football.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. Golly.
Corey, man,
No
you gotta, I don't give a shit about predictions. So I already know how you feel about what's going to happen on Monday night. I am, like most All-Americans, rooting for your Georgia Bulldogs.
Alabama by 9.
Okay.
We both took Georgia.
No, I got Georgia winning the whole thing. So,
So
sorry
did
What's
about
the
that.
spread? Do you know?
Georgia by 3 right now.
Yeah, I'm taking Alabama all day in that. I'm on a fan. I never bet against us, but I might. Yeah.
Once it went from 2.5 to 3, I might have put a few bones down on Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, Corey, please explain to us how crazy you do go if Georgia wins. We'd like to hear details as long as they're appropriate.
I can't decide because I'll be with Trey, who is a Tennessee fan, and I'm you know me, I'm a nice person by nature. I won't want to rub it in too much. I don't know. I think I will like do some like in place dancing for at least a minute, and then I'll get winded and I'll be like, okay, and then I'll be like, all right, what scene are we in right now? We got to get back to that will determine how the second half of what we're filming looks if we win or if we lose.
Right.
Well, I think the fact that is the situation is because you busted your ass. You guys are super talented. You put yourselves in a position to be successful, and now you get to go like maybe miss the Georgia game because you're just like so successful. So like,
what are you gonna do?
There you have it, buddy. Thank you so much for hanging out. Tell everybody, by the way, give us all the stuff. Like where can people find you? Where can they listen and watch?
And your subscription service.
Give us
yeah. So I'm on. If you Google me, Google Corey Ryan Forrester, all the socials will pop up. But the thing that I'm pushing the most right now is it's called CoreyWritesForYou.com. It's a newsletter / blog where I do every week. Now the thing I'm doing is a thing called This Week in Southern History, where I take an event that happened, you guessed it, this week in Southern history, and I sort of break it down with a little comedic twist. You get audio versions if you pay for the $5 tier of that. But I tell everybody this: if you can't afford the $5 tier because of you're on strike or you're out of work or Christmas was rough, you can just email me at buttercreamcorey@gmail.com and I'll comp you a subscription, no questions asked. Because whatever, there's plenty of people that subscribe that will make up for you not. So I don't care.
Awesome.
Whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Instagram, Twitter, podcasts, comedy tour, all that great stuff. We really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Best of luck on Monday night because you'll have a lot of things to do with it. Of course, Erin Dugan, where can people find you?
Erin_Dugan on Instagram and the Erin Dugan on Twitter,
where she does all of her influencing. Special thanks to Jasper's, of course, for supporting the program. Go to Jasper's, free parking, great happy hour specials, all the great food and drinks for the championship game. That's where you should go watch the game. My name is Braden Gall. You can follow me on Twitter at Braden Gall. Thank you guys all for listening. Please share the product. This has been the Fringe Element Podcast here on the 440 Sports Network.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.